Hey, welcome to this week's Adventures with Peps. We are painting the Red Skull. Ooh. So, aka Johann Schmidt, the Red Skull, is a supervillain appearing in the American comic books published by Marvel Comics and its predecessor, Timely Comics. Now, I am reading notes over here, so if I look weird, I apologize, but hopefully you're also getting pictures to look at. So yeah, he appeared in the Captain America comics #1 in 1941. That is crazy. And his identity was revealed to be George Maxson, which was retroactively established that was one of his decoys for the real Red Skull. In his comic book appearance, the Red Skull is depicted as obviously a Nazi agent and a prodigy of that regime back in World War II. He initially wore a fearsome blood-red skull mask, but then suffered horrific disfigurement decades later that caused his face to match his name. The Red Skull has endured as an arch-enemy of the superhero Captain America. He is not a good guy. He is the ultimate villain. Even the villains hate this villain. He is purely about taking over the world and controlling it in what he believes is the correct way. And let's get into it. Right, let's go. As you can see, a little change for me. I have done a pure white base coat prime. This is just a cheap primer from the local hardware store, and then I cleaned up his base with some black paint. And let's kick things off with the Zealot Yellow. I picked the white primer because I know his skull's going to be bright red. I'm using this yellow on his eyes, so this is a quick step. We're using like the plasmatic bolt on the box, and then we're using black on his trench coat, so I needed a bright base to really help sell the model. With the eyes drying, we moved on to the graveyard grey. Can use that on the base. This is going to give him that New York pavement look that we're all going for. Trying not to be too fancy here, just make sure the cracks are fully filled. And just make sure everything's covered nicely without too many brush marks on it. Then we grab the hardened leather to catch his boots. Now on pictures I've seen, his boots were also black, but with the dark grey base, his black trench coat, that's too dark for me, so I'm going for this hardened leather look on his boots. That probably would have got him thrown out of his evil regime back in the days, but now he's HYDRA. He can wear these boots all he likes. So far, it's very quick and easy, like the yellow just on the eyes, the grey on the base, and then these boots are the only brown part we got. So I might as well keep yapping. What is everyone's opinion on the Red Skull? I remember reading the old Captain American comics back in the 80s and 90s. I really liked him as a villain. I obviously didn't understand or appreciate who he was and what he was, but as a villain, I thought he was a very good classical, I'm going to take over the world villain. As I've grown up, obviously his World War II days aren't the greatest thing in the world, but his days with HYDRA and the Cosmic Cube, I'm quite enjoying those stories. I'm only now actually starting to read them properly. Also read Dead World, where he's the outcast because all the villains don't want to be near him, and I'm kind of enjoying it. He's hated by everyone, which is quite rare in a villain. Usually at least their own people or people that they side with like them, but the Red Skull, he struggles. He has to maintain power by being a villain, not with his ideologies. So he's very unique in that way. I like the fact that Kingpin wouldn't side with him because he felt it was his patriotic duty. And then, who was the other one? There was somebody else who just straight up refused to work with him. Oh, Magneto. Magneto, being Jewish, just ultimately refused to do anything with the Red Skull. So good on Magneto for that one. We are now going to move on to a colour that I've not used a lot of. It's the plasmatic bolt. It obviously works for plasma pistols. I'm hoping it's going to work for this Cosmic Cube, in the idea that all these sharp edges of the cube are going to go bright white, and the middle will hopefully darken down I'm starting to see the effect already happening, which is great. It's always a worry when you try a new paint out and you're not sure if it's going to work or not. And of course, we move on to the iconic Red Skull. I'm going to use the blood red army painter paint for this. I've seen people do some stunning results with the Red Skull. I don't have the time or patience for that, so I'm hoping this will give me a good enough effect. Make him stand out. His eyes are already standing out, which I'm loving. Wasn't sure if his hands were red or not. Is it just his face that's red? I'm not entirely sure. Luckily he's wearing gloves, so I don't have to worry about that. But with a few quick swipes, we have a red skull. Trying to make sure the paint doesn't run into the yellow too much. Got a fan on it, so it's helping it to dry quite quick. And with that, the head is done. Oh, it's so bright, so red. We'll see how it dries up. Might have to darken it down. But that is a red skull for definite. And now I guess you can all imagine what we're up to for this final stage. It is the black. We're using Army Painter Speed Paint Grim Black. And I'm just going to swipe down the model as much as possible. This is going to help avoid brush marks. It's also going to follow those creases. I made sure to let all the paint dry fully before doing this stage. I don't want the black running into anything. It would completely ruin it. And I'd have to go back to going all the way back to the white base coat. So join me in a minute and we will see how we're doing. Okay, we are on the final sweeps. You can see how he's looking. I need to work out how I'm going to photograph him. This is a lot of black on one model. And I've got to be careful around this cosmic cube. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. It's very quick model paint, full color. And really it didn't even need to be that. But what should I paint next? Drop me a comment. It's either going to be Doc Ock or some terrain. It might be the terrain. And then I really need to start doing some superheroes. I've only done Spider-Man so far. He's currently going to have to face off against the Red Skull and Ultron on his own. Doesn't seem like a good idea. So drop me a comment and make sure you like, subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers for watching and enjoy the photos.